Don't let the human get away, girls. Future's female. You better hold on.
I was in the process of hiring someone. They were all very nice candidates, and they all sent me thank you notes that had been written by ChatGPT, and they were all the exact same thank you note. So I just want to
Nice.
warn you, if you're out there thinking that you're getting away with something, there's a chance that you might be revealing yourself. It was hilarious.
That's crazy. So many Anne Hathaways that you're going to apply to that you just have to. You can't write it yourself. Oh my God. That would be an absolute killer. Nobody on that list gets that job.
The first one I read, I was like, how nice, how professional. Then the second one arrived, I was like, oh no. Oh no, I see something I'm not supposed to see. I noticed something.
That's just tragic, in my opinion.
There's a moment in every horror movie where the real terror isn't the monster, isn't the masked killer, isn't the thing lurking in the shadows. It's a sound, a whimper, a small four-legged shape trotting into frame, tail wagging, completely unaware of what's coming. And the second that shape appears on screen, something strange happens in theaters all over the world. Grown adults, people who just sat through 2 hours of gunfire and blood and severed limbs without flinching suddenly go rigid in their seats. Their stomachs drop. Their hands grip the armrest, because deep down, they all know the unwritten rule of modern cinema. If a dog appears in this movie, there is a real chance it is not walking out alive. This is the fear Anne Hathaway just put into words, and the internet has not stopped talking about it since. It started as a simple conversation. Hathaway sat down with Complex Pop to promote her new film, and the talk should have stayed on script, on marketing, on safe, rehearsed answers about her latest role. Instead, she said something so blunt, so unfiltered, that it cut straight through the noise of 100 other celebrity interviews happening that same week. She looked at the interviewer and said that movies where dogs die should automatically be rated R. Let that sink in for a second. Not movies with graphic torture. Not movies packed with profanity. Not even movies drenched in human violence. Hathaway said a dog dying on screen deserves the same warning label as the darkest, most disturbing content Hollywood produces. And she wasn't exaggerating for effect. She meant it. She explained herself with a kind of raw honesty you rarely hear from someone at her level of fame. Swearing doesn't rattle her. Human-on-human violence, as brutal as it can be, doesn't leave her shaken the way one specific image does. A dog, hurt or killed on screen, undoes her completely. And if you think about it, she's not alone. She's simply saying out loud what millions of people have felt in silence for years, sitting in dark theaters, dreading a single scene they can't unsee once it happens. Then she said the name, the one word guaranteed to make an entire generation of moviegoers tense up on command. John Wick. For anyone who somehow doesn't know, the story begins with grief. A man, alone, mourning his dead wife, is given one final gift from her before she passed. A puppy, Daisy, a small, fragile bridge between him and the love he lost. And for a few precious minutes, the film lets you believe this is going to be a story about healing. About a broken man learning to feel again through the eyes of an innocent animal. Then the front door gets kicked in. What happens next isn't just a plot point. It's a cultural scar. Daisy is killed in front of him, and that single act of cruelty ignites one of the most violent revenge sagas in modern action cinema. Hundreds of men would die because of what happened to that puppy. But audiences didn't walk out of the theater thinking about the body count. They walked out thinking about Daisy. They still do years later. Hathaway pointed to this exact moment as a turning point, not just for John Wick, but for how people watch movies now. She said it plainly. Everybody is still traumatized, and that trauma didn't fade with time. It evolved into something more like a defense mechanism. Now, the instant a dog trots onto the screen in any film, a wave of quiet dread moves through the audience. People stop relaxing. They start bracing. Some viewers, she pointed out, have started doing something they never used to do before sitting down to watch a movie. They check. There are entire websites now built for exactly this purpose. Communities of people who scan through films in advance, searching for one single detail before anything else. Does the dog die? Not does the hero survive, not is there a twist ending, does the dog die? Because for a huge portion of the audience, that answer determines whether they can watch the movie at all. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn, and it's the part that makes this whole conversation land so much harder. Hathaway isn't some distant observer commenting on a trend from the outside. She's living it. She has 2 dogs of her own, Esmeralda and Kenobi, and by every account, she adores them the way most people adore family. This isn't a talking point for her. It's personal. It's felt. And then there's the film she was actually there to promote in the first place, The End of Oak Street, a story that once again centers around a dog, a family dog named Starbuck, except this time, instead of dread, Hathaway spoke about him with pure warmth. She called Starbuck the undisputed star of the entire film. Not a subplot, not comic relief, the heart of the story. She described how audiences fall in love with him almost instantly, how his presence pulls people in and doesn't let go. It's almost poetic. The same actress warning the world about the trauma of losing a dog on screen is also the one showing audiences what it feels like when a film gets it right, when a dog becomes a source of joy instead of grief. That contrast is exactly why her comments hit as hard as they did. She isn't just criticizing an industry trope. She's holding up 2 mirrors at once. One reflecting the pain so many films have carelessly inflicted on their audiences. The other reflecting what's possible when a filmmaker respects that same emotional bond instead of exploiting it for shock value. And audiences responded almost instantly. Comment sections filled with people thanking her for saying what they'd felt for years, but never heard spoken out loud by someone with a platform like hers. Fans admitted they now Google a film before watching it, just to prepare themselves, just to protect themselves from being blindsided in a dark theater with no warning. Because that's really what this comes down to. Warning. Consent. The idea that audiences deserve to know what they're walking into. Nobody expects a hug and a happy ending from every movie. People can handle sadness, tension, even tragedy when they choose it. What they struggle with is being ambushed by it, especially through the eyes of an animal who trusted every human in that story completely. Hathaway's words weren't a throwaway soundbite. They tapped into something larger, a quiet, collective exhaustion with a storytelling shortcut that filmmakers have leaned on for years, using a dog's death as an easy emotional trigger instead of earning that same gut punch through character and story. Whether or not the rating boards ever actually adopt her suggestion, one thing is already true. The conversation has been started loudly, publicly, and it isn't fading anytime soon. And the next time a dog wanders onto the screen in any film, tail wagging, eyes trusting, there's a good chance the entire audience will be holding its breath, waiting to find out if this is one of the good ones or one of the ones they'll never forget for all the wrong reasons.